Am I the only one that was genuinely creeped out by how into his own ass Captain America always was? Like, he was always just so proud and so happy about how his ass looked. There was that awkward moment when he went back in time in Endgame and was actually like checking himself out, which I don't know, it was a little bit weird. But, anyways, if there was anybody in the MCU that should be checking out their own ass, would probably be Hulk, right? Because he's like 10 feet tall and green and muscular. Anyways, I don't know why we started off this way. Let's start off the proper way. In today's video, I actually wanted to talk about the newest Thunderbolt teaser trailer that they showed off. And I know this kind of debuted, I think, like a couple of weeks ago by the time I upload this video, and the premiere is just like 2 weeks from now, I believe, by the moment that I decide to upload this, because I procrastinate. I take forever to like edit and put the video together. Even though it sounds really easy, I'm constantly editing the way my voice sounds just because I don't like it. So, but anyways, all jokes aside, let's get straight into it. They showcased a new Thunderbolts teaser trailer, and look, I've already talked about the cast. I absolutely love the cast that they've put together here. Florence Pugh is one of my favorite up-and-coming young actresses. Wyatt Russell as U.S. Agent is quite possibly my second favorite casting in this film. I absolutely love that story arc, that redemption storyline where he failed miserably as Captain America, but he's going to redeem himself as U.S. Agent. He's not like a black and white character. I genuinely enjoyed his performance and just the way the character was written. And then we have David Harbour as the Red Guardian. And what can I say? It feels like David Harbour was just born to play this character. Every time he is on screen, he just takes over the spotlight. He embodies what the character is supposed to be, at least in my mind's eye. And yes, just to reiterate, Sebastian Stan will be reprising his role as Bucky Barnes. And this is coming off of one of his greatest performances on the film A Different Man, which not only garnered him quite a bit of attention from the critics, but also just the entire film, the entire plot line. It just was, beloved as a film, one of the best of the year for sure. And then it appears like every different website that I go on actually names Harrison Ford as a part of the cast for that particular film. So I'm not sure if this means that Harrison Ford is like directly involved. He's going to be there as Ross or the Red Hulk. But that could potentially mean that maybe it's just like a television screen playing in the background where they feature Ross, or there's like an interview, or it's just like a live coverage, or just overall news coverage, or, some reels of Ross turning into Red Hulk and then maybe them breaking down exactly what happened. It could be something simplistic like that, like a little cameo, or it could be an all-out storyline where they bring Harrison Ford back and actually have him be a part of the entire film. It would make a little bit of sense here because the Thunderbolts look absolutely outmatched against Bob or the Sentry. I think that it would kind of bring it full circle, bring maybe Thunderbolt Ross or, the Hulk to fight off Sentry and maybe balance out the battle as a whole. But here's the thing, at the end of the day, we can sit here and we can talk so much about how amazing the cast is, how well put together this trailer looks, and overall just how exciting the future for the MCU appears. But the biggest thing, or the biggest takeaway from this particular trailer, at least in my personal opinion, is the message that Marvel as a whole is trying to send to the fan base. Essentially what they did is they took all, not just the actors, but they took the information behind, for example, the producers, the directors, the writers, the composers, the people behind the cinematography. They essentially put out what projects they had worked on, and most of the people behind this particular film have worked on absolutely like amazing films over the past few years. And that tells me that Marvel really wants the fan base. They want people that are, maybe on the fence about this film to know that they're pouring their hearts and soul into this film. Whether it's going to be good or not, I think, we'll have to see when it finally gets revealed. But the sense, the feeling that I'm getting here is they don't want you to think that this is just going to be a random MCU film that is going to get put together by people that don't understand the concept of making good films. I think that they're putting together a team of like seasoned veterans, seasoned content creators. These are people that make films. They don't, or I shouldn't say they're not maybe a part of the larger MCU scheme, but these are people that know about films and know how to do their jobs correctly. And that, I think that's really what Marvel's trying to do. They're trying to say that this film is going to have heart, it's going to have soul, it's going to have a good solid plot line, it's going to look good on screen, it's not going to be an absolute mess. And I have to say, I personally appreciate that. I know the first trailer was a little bit more about the action. They showcased, some sequences here and there of, what's going on with some of the characters, with, some little stunts here and there. And I thought that kind of piqued people's interest. But this trailer is really all about cementing what they're trying to do here. And I've said it before and I'll say it again. I'm really excited for the next phase of the MCU. I already reviewed Captain America. I thought it was a really, really good entry into the MCU. It's not a great movie, but it's a very, very good film. Builds up the tension. It's about, two different ideologies colliding. And I thought they did just an absolutely phenomenal job with that film. And now we're, just around the corner from Thunderbolts. And then later down the line, we should be getting a new Fantastic Four film, which just looks, again, splendid. It's a great cast. It appears that they're trying to pour more effort into these films. The budgets are also much higher than what we've seen in the past. So this is all very exciting. As I said, I'm very much looking forward to the MCU. I think they're going down the correct path. And it appears, at least on the surface, that they've learned from their mistakes in the past. It was just about putting together like a really good cast, a bunch of household names, and they would just assume that if they wrote a half decent script and put together a half decent film, that people would flock and they would make, billions of dollars. But it's not that way anymore. And I feel like not only have they put forth together an absolutely phenomenal cast of actors, but now the people behind the scenes, the people that are putting the film together, the writers, the directors, the composers, the people that you don't really think of when you think of like a legitimately good film, those are the people that are also like superstars behind the scenes. And so I think that really speaks volume to what Marvel is, really trying to do, pushing forward, especially with the new Doomsday film announced. And it feels like that has taken a little bit of attention from Thunderbolts and the Fantastic Four, which are films that are already set in stone. Production or post-production is already finished up, wrapped up. The red carpet events are going to start, happening very soon. All I will say, and it's the same thing that I said about Captain America: Brave New World, give this film a try. That's the worst case scenario. It's like a half-cooked film. You go in there, you spend a little bit of time, and you eat some salty ass popcorn and get an ash rash from sitting in movie theater seats. That's about it. I really don't think this is going to be a really bad film. I think this is going to be something creative, innovative, something that is going to push the envelope a little bit more for Marvel films. I think this is going to come at us from a left field. This is going to be mind-blowing. I'm very excited. Only time will tell if I'm right or if I'm wrong. But as always, I'm just very curious to see what the community has to say. Are you guys excited about the Thunderbolts? Do you guys feel like there's going to be a little bit of a twist towards the end? Do you like the new approach for some of their teasers? They're really trying to get people excited for the future. And honestly, I count myself in that. I'm definitely excited for what is to come. Let me know down below. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. If you guys like this type of like a random comic book based rambling, make sure to stay tuned because I'm going to try to do this more consistently. I do have, a primary channel. This is kind of my secondary channel, which I tend to neglect from time to time. I won't upload for like 2 to 3 weeks, but I'm going to try to be a little bit more consistent here, especially with a lot of Marvel news ramping up. I'm definitely going to try to stay on top of that. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. If you guys enjoy this type of rambling content, make sure to stay tuned, stay safe out there, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Thank you.